Hello again. It's Tuesday, and I had planned to do this video for you guys over the weekend, but I didn't get around to it. So anyway, someone had asked me, what's the prejudice against bagged tea? Well, the prejudice against it is really what is in it and what's allowed to be in it by law. I don't know about other countries, though I think it probably does apply to probably most other countries. But in the United States, you're allowed to have a surprising amount of stuff in tea and in fruits and vegetables and all kinds of things up to a certain maximum amount and not have to report it or put it on the ingredients list. That's my problem with tea. With tea bags, that is. So, this is Tetley's, which is a much better brand of tea. It's an English tea. I think my personal opinion is, it's a much better brand of tea in a tea bag. It has a little better flavor and probably doesn't have a lot of the stuff that's allowed to be in a lot of bagged teas. But what I wanted to do is open up a bag of tea for you so you can see it, okay? And since I really don't have a really good tripod here and I'm doing this handheld, I'm going to go ahead and just open this bag of tea up and lay it out here so you can see it, okay? Okay, so, here's the bag of tea right here. And if I unfold it, it's sealed right there. I'm going to pour it out here, and I'm going to try to focus in a little better. See if I can zoom in on this. So you can see what you've got here is just a bunch of granules. No leaves, nothing of the nature, just a bunch of granules. Okay. So that's what's inside of a tea bag. It's not particularly gross, it's not particularly unsavory, it's just a bunch of granules that kind of looks like tobacco poured out over a plate, or maybe a really thick, heavy pepper, like one of those Indian peppers. But this is what it is. Now, here's the story, and this is, excuse me, my chair just squeaked on me. This is exactly the reason why I don't like bagged teas a lot. If I'm in a restaurant and I want tea, I kind of have to suffer through a bagged tea, but I ask them for Tetley's if they have it. Because again, Tetley's really doesn't have a lot of this stuff, but the things that are allowed to be in tea, up to a certain minimum amount, which seem to be pretty minuscule to tell you the truth, but still, the fact that it's a minimum amount doesn't take away from the fact that it's there, okay? For example, shells from bugs, insect shells. Just like if you drink anything like Hawaiian punch or anything red like that, the coloring comes from red insect shells that they find in certain cactuses. It's just, I'm sorry, that's just the truth. And in the case of the tea, they have insect shells, they'll have insect droppings. They have pesticide and herbicides as well. And they'll also have animal droppings. A certain amount of rodent hairs are allowed to be in them. And even human waste is allowed to be in there in a certain amount, in a certain minimum amount. Now, of course, fertilizers, for those producers who just want to mass-produce tea and really not have the ethics or the care to do it with any care to their customers, they'll use lots and lots and lots of fertilizers and chemical agents that promote quick growing and things of the nature. That stuff is allowed to be in the tea as well. So it's really a small amount. It's a certain amount. And to my knowledge, and I've actually did some research on this, Tetley's, they really don't do that. Now, what this is the leaves are dried, like in any tea, and then they're just ground up. They're absolutely pulverized into these little things, and they're made into this little mulch. And again, this is convenient and this is expedient and it's cost effective for the companies, so of course there's no question why they do this. But the reality of it is there are no real leaf structures here that can expand and really soak up the water and release a lot of the flavor. So you don't get a lot of flavor with these teas. You get colored water and some taste. And that's why people like to decorate these bagged teas with milk or with lemon almost without exception. Lipton, which gets its tea from just everywhere, they're like that too. And there are some teas. Now, Lipton is actually a fairly good quality as well, but there are a lot of bagged teas on the market. Somebody told me there's almost 300 different types of bagged teas on the market. And I don't know, some of them are just really spotty. Some of them are just really, you don't know what you're getting, to tell you the truth. And I don't know. This, for me, like I said, is not particularly unsavory. It's not something I would probably walk across the street to get, just because of the fact that it's just granules. It really isn't there's no leaves in here to express any flavor, to tell you the truth. It's a bland tea, and if you just want to have a quick shot of tea, I guess this is just fine, but I don't really use tea for that purpose, to just sit down and have a quick mug and run. I like to sit down and relax and enjoy the flavors and the aromas and just, really just relax. That's what tea is for. Now, again, there are teas that are just made for, herbal teas for going to sleep, and those chamomiles and the different flower teas. And I really don't like those. There's something about them that just kind of almost nauseates me. But a nice, beautiful Chinese jasmine tea, or some of these other just wonderful teas that are out there, they're meant for enjoyment. They're meant to sit down, take your time, relax, enjoy. My father being from Britain, told me that a lot of times the 4 o'clock British tea time really just meant we're not going to work anymore today. We're just going to sit down and chew the fat for a couple hours and go home. And I believe that. I would be very inclined to do that myself. But if you're looking for a good bagged tea that you can just take and run, this is it right here, Tetley. It is a really good tea. They advertise that it's a tiny little leaf tea, and I believe it, because man, these are as small as pepper grains. These are, just tiny little things. So, anyway, I had told you that I would do this, and I will. And here it is. The inside of tea bags looks like this, but the issue for me, more than any other thing, the issue for me is what they put in it, what they're allowed to have in it, what the law says. No, it's okay, you can do this. That's the problem for me. So, anyway, you have a good day. Have a nice Tuesday.